Okay, so episode 5. Whew, wow, this was a big one. I'm going to try and keep this as quick as possible. All I'm going to say is I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was great. I thought that it touched me in the penis. But no, it definitely got me with the nostalgic shit. Seeing Hayden Christensen again as Anakin, seeing him fight with a lightsaber, blah 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 blah. This was like 10 times better than what we got in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Like with Hayden Christensen appearing in that, I felt like this was much better. We got to see a little clip of the Clone Wars, a little bit of, Ahsoka and Anakin, running into battle. It was very foggy though, and you had a bunch of clone troopers running around, and that was all cool and everything. You didn't see any battle droids. You did see some Mandalorians, and so yeah. This episode was kind of just a big nostalgic fest. You got to see Anakin fight Ahsoka. He had his blue lightsaber, then he had his red lightsaber. You saw little snippets of Darth Vader. He kept turning into Darth Vader. That was all just brilliant. I loved it. I loved all the imagery. I loved the music. Just everything about this episode was fantastic. I will just say though, last episode was really good because I felt like that was driving the story forward, like the whole story with Balin and Thrawn and all that sort of stuff, and Ezra and going to a different galaxy and blah 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 blah. This episode was more of a kind of like, hey, let's hold back a little bit and give the Star Wars fans some member berries and some nostalgia shit, and just say, hey, the prequels were awesome and Clone Wars was great, and so me as a fan of the Clone Wars and as a fan of the prequels, I loved it. I think some people who are not fans of the Clone Wars and who are not fans of the prequels probably won't care for this episode, and I feel like as well they'll say that it doesn't really drive the story forward.
I'm not gonna lie to you, last night's episode of Ahsoka is the one that made me tap out of the show.
Oh. When Ahsoka does leave the whole dream sequence, flashback, whatever it was, and she is found and she wakes up, then it got into the story again, and obviously she talks to a whale, they go inside the whale's mouth, and then they go off to follow Sabine and Balin and all that sort of stuff, and the mentally ill looking girl. Other than that, the story was pretty much just sort of like, let's press the pause button and just do some nostalgia stuff. So, people could look at that as a criticism. To me, as a fan, I loved it, and this is some of the best Star Wars that we've had. I mean, again, I know some people might say, oh, Ahsoka's boring, blah 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 blah. I don't think it's boring. I think if you're a fan, I think you'll love it. And yeah, I mean, I would agree that maybe the first couple of episodes were a little bit padded out and a little bit slow, building up to this. And yeah, you could put all those episodes together and made a nice little, it's like the Obi-Wan show, it's like Book of Boba Fett, it's like all these other shows. You could condense them and turn them into movies quite easily, but that's not what they're doing here. So you've just got to accept that they're making a TV show. So yeah, and yes, I'm excited for what's going to happen next. I'm intrigued. And it's, as I say, it's great to see Hayden Christensen back. They need to make a sequel to Jumper, and they need to also keep coming up with excuses to bring him back to Star Wars. A couple of videos ago, I said that they should have Anakin come back. Not Anakin, but have Hayden Christensen play a clone of Anakin. That would be interesting. Yeah, and you could have an evil one, and you could have a good one. That's a pretty good idea.
If you think you can graduate from this school without kissing my cock, you are dead wrong.
Anyway, I'm going to go now. There's really not a lot to say about this episode other than the fact that I just thought it was good. I think some people are a bit too dismissive and need to probably chill out a little bit and need to kind of recognize when to get all angry and when not to get all angry about these sorts of things. Don't get me wrong, Last Jedi, yep, the movie took the piss. It took the piss. But we've all got to just move on now, and we've just got to say, okay, that's it. Let's move on. I've moved on. I went to therapy, right? I had a lobotomy, okay? I had electric shock therapy, okay? I had 2 Chinese men whip me with bamboo sticks, okay? So if I can get through all of that, then yeah, let's all move on, okay? Subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.